When you experience density, like someone coming off as dense, and it affects you, there's a cycle at play, a karmic cycle at play. The feeling that it strikes inside of you, if you recognize that as the feeling that they had to grow up with, that the density that they're continuing the cycle of produces that feeling that you're experiencing, you begin cultivating compassion. If you can separate and pause your emotional response and truly recognize that it's how they feel a lot when they were growing up, you can easily turn that negative feeling inside of you around into love towards them. Because it is a karmic cycle, it's most likely that they're numb to that feeling that you're experiencing. They don't recognize it anymore. And they certainly don't know that that's the feeling that they're causing in others when they communicate in a way that causes that feeling. They don't realize it. They're also numb to the normal responses that would come from that cycle. Which are negative because it's causing a negative feeling, and the typical response is a reaction from that emotional space. The thing that's most interesting when you're early in this process of cultivating compassionate responses to karmic cycles in communication, primarily, if you respond positively when they are expecting a negative response, a slightly negative response, as the normal, and you respond positively, they recognize it, and you can see them recognize it. The more grace that you've cultivated in your ability to respond to these things, the more of a reaction it causes. It's just they're expecting something negative, as a baseline. They don't realize that they're expecting negative. So when they see positive, it strikes them more profoundly. And it's a good way to measure how you're doing if you need confirmation at all. Just to see that in them, and it really amplifies the love that you've turned around inside of yourself. It amplifies that feeling when you recognize in their eyes or in their tone or in their posture that something just shifted because you responded positively when they're expecting something negative. The best way to prepare for navigating conversations in this style, in this manner, responding positively no matter what, is just simply to practice mindfulness continuously as you're about to approach a conversation, at least. And what I mean by that is think thoughts like, I love where I am. I'm so excited about this thing I'm about to do. I love this food I'm about to order. I've stayed at this hotel before and it's just like such a good energy in here or something, you know. Continuously put those kind of thoughts in your head, and all of those are things that you can say when that feeling gets stirred up in you, and you turn it around into compassion, when you flip the script towards compassion towards them. And any of those positive responses starts to erode the walls, the shorelines of their consciousness that they didn't realize was even at play. And that moment of seeing it, the positivity that you're projecting, that you're injecting into the conversation, that positivity, when you see it reflected, when you see that moment, it's just like, I'm doing something good. You're healing yourself in that moment as well. Not just through the awareness that we're all one. So healing anyone is healing yourself, which is true. But it heals you in a very tangible way to see this, to witness your own growth helping others. I don't remember who coined it, but you're talking to the peace of God that's inside of them. Inside of everyone, there's a piece of God. And if you talk to that, you have compassion towards that aspect of them, not the surface level conditioned, cyclic, karmic ego self. It's really just such a peaceful way to move through life. When you're mindfully focusing on positive aspects that are all around you, cultivating that, Abraham Hicks would say you're preparing your grid. Bashar would say something like, you're deliberately choosing your state of being. Because the circumstances don't matter. Only your state of being matters. Witnessing the flip in them is the same as like witnessing the grid come into alignment. Your grid that you're preparing come into alignment, so your manifestations start moving towards positivity, even if the conversation felt negative. When you have faith in your alignment, in your ability to respond positively, it makes it a lot easier and a lot more powerful. The situation may not always allow you to say something randomly positive. You might have to respond more directly, which might be more challenging. But any efforts you make here is helping heal everyone. Do your best to stay tuned into your heart space. The moment that the feeling strikes you negatively isn't the moment you bust out the positive thing, because it'll lay flat. Try to remain still until you've flipped that script inside of you and turned it towards compassionate love. Because as soon as it's positive inside of you, you have an immediate trust and awareness of alignment that helps the conversation flow positively without any feeling that it's forced. Even if you need to pause, if you haven't immediately been able to flip it, they'll recognize that you are pausing, that you're thinking, that you're being aware, which brings awareness on their side as well. So when you've taken that beat, allowed it to be transmuted in the timing that's required, and then respond positively, you're doing it perfectly. Krishna says, those who remain still in anger are dear to me. That may be paraphrased a bit, but it resonates and it's recognized.